Hello students, welcome at KLA, Kiran Learners Academy. The topic is US-Iran nuclear deal. Now this deal has been very important for our examination purpose because this deal is has been in the news since last 2 years. Okay, and this is one of the major geopolitical development that has taken place recently, and it has a major potential in terms of affecting interest of major players as well as India's as well. So that's why this has become very important as far as examination is concerned. So now this issue has been in the news because the US administration under the Donald J. Trump presidency has refused to recertify the deal, okay, which was very much expected because during his election campaign Donald Trump had said that it will tear this deal apart, okay, and because this deal is not in the interest of the United States. Okay, so now Donald Trump has refused to recertify this bill, and that's now the future of this deal is uncertain. So we see the various aspects of this development, like what will be its fallout in the in the international geopolitics, and how it would affect India's interests as well. Okay, so now we'd see the various aspects of this deal. In this video, we'd see the key details of this nuclear deal, because it is very important to understand what were the important details of the deal, so that we could infer the possible fallout of this development. Okay, we'd also see important factual information that is very important for prelims examination, and would also analyze various perspectives of this deal for mains examination, and in the very end of this video would solve some MCQs which for getting the insight of this topic. Okay, so now we move ahead. So the first question, the very fundamental question, what is United States Iran nuclear deal? Okay, so now the deal was signed in 2015. Okay, in 2015 between P5+1 countries and the Republic of Iran. Now the P5+1 countries represent the five permanent members of Security Council, UNSC. Okay, these are United States, UK, Russia, France, China, and one country is that Germany. Germany represent here as the +1 country. P5 country is United States, United Kingdom, Russia, France, and China, while the one country that is in addition and which was accommodated in order to satisfy the European Union concern is that Germany. Okay, so this deal was signed between P5+1 countries and the Republic of Iran. Okay, this landmark deal prevent Iran from building a nuclear bomb. In exchange, the international sanction was expected to lift from Iran. Okay, so that the normal economic and trade and all kind of relations of Iran with other countries were restored in exchange of if Iran agrees to halt its nuclear program. Okay, now sanction relief led to Iran receiving billions of dollars which were freezed in different banks in different institutions. Okay, because of various sanctions that were imposed by United States, European Unions, and United Nations as well. Now this deal helped Iran to get access to this freeze fund. Okay, however, recently President Trump claimed that it would not recertify the deal, which is required because in this agreement it is stipulated that the US administration in every 60 days would recertify the bill, okay, in order to maintain its survival. Okay, so in further we will see what are the key details of this deal. So here are some key details of this original United States-Iran nuclear deal. All the actions under this deal is known as the GCPA, that is Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Okay, this action is the outcome of this deal. Okay, and this action outlines all the important responsibilities and all the important actions that were expected out of Iran and as well as the P5+1 countries. Okay, the first very important agreement that was done and that was outcome of this deal was that freeze on nuclear enrichment program. According to the provisions of JCPA, okay, Iran would not enrich, in fact, would halt the ongoing nuclear enrichment program. Okay, according to this provision, Iran agreed to limit its number of nuclear centrifuges no more than oldest and weakest 5,060 centrifuges. Originally, Iran had almost more than 20,000 centrifuges, and which were very strong and which could be, which could be used as nuclear weapons. Okay, which could be transformed into nuclear weapons. Now, under these provisions, Iran is legally bound to reduce this number of centrifuges to not more than 5,060 centrifuges. Okay, so overall this nuclear enrichment would halt at and would hover around 3.67%. Iran cannot enrich its nuclear fissile materials more than 3.67%. Okay, so the first important agreement that was done, that Iran would halt its nuclear enrichment program. The second important agreement was limiting on the number of nuclear facilities. Okay, now Iran had couple of important nuclear facilities where various tasks of the nuclear weapons program were going on, and according to the JCPA, Iran would limit the number as well as the nature of these nuclear sites. Okay, according to JCPA, they limited the number and nature of Iranian nuclear facilities. Research and development will take place only in Natanz, which used to be a very active Iranian nuclear facility. Okay, and be limited for 8 years. No enrichment was permitted at Fordo, which is also one of the most important active Iranian nuclear facilities. So obviously these two important nuclear facilities are converted as research and development for civilian nuclear purpose. Okay, and also Iran is not allowed to conduct any kind of underground facility. Okay, so and the existing underground nuclear facility was turned into Nuclear Physics and Technology Center. Okay, so this agreement actively changed the number and nature of Iranian nuclear facility. The third most important imposition that was imposed on Iran was that no nuclear cycle. Iran was not allowed to building any kind of reactor or nuclear facility which uses or which supports nuclear recycle, because nuclear recycle, almost all nuclear recycle facilities, they produce plutonium, okay, a weapon grade nuclear material. So Iran was also not allowed to have any kind of nuclear recycle mechanism. Okay, Iran had been building a heavy water nuclear facility in the town of Arak. Okay, but now, as of now, this Arak nuclear reactor has been remodified in order to close down the production of plutonium. Okay, Arak nuclear facility has been redesigned in order to, so that it could not produce plutonium, a weapon grade nuclear fissile material. Another major imposition that was imposed on Iran was that no covert nuclear activity. Under this agreement, Iran committed that it would not undertake any covert nuclear works, okay, nuclear project. Okay, it would maintain a transparent nuclear regime. Okay, and the inspector from IAEA, International Atomic Energy Authority, the global watch, which is also known as the global nuclear watchdog, would have unhindered access to all nuclear facilities of Iran in order to check whether there is any covert nuclear facilities going on in Iran or not. Okay, so, and in addition, Iran has also signed additional protocol to their IAS safeguards agreement, under which IAEA has much extended powers to investigate and examine Iran's nuclear facilities. On part of P5+1 countries, they agreed to lift all financial sanctions in a systematic, in an agreed manner. The deal seeks to lift sanctions previously imposed by UN, United States and European Union in an attempt to force Iran to halt nuclear enrichment program, obviously, okay, which costing the country more than 160 billion in oil revenue from 2012 to 2016 alone. It is said that during these 4 years, Iran lost as much as $160 billion, okay, in their oil revenue because of this severe financial restriction or sanction. Okay, now when the deal was in the force, okay, Iran stood to gain access to more than $100 billion. Okay, which were frozen overseas banks and other financial institutions. Okay. Now, if all P5+1 countries agreed that they would lift the financial sanction in a systematic way, in a phased manner, okay, if Iran stick to its commitment, okay, and should Iran violate any aspect of the deal, the UN sanction will automatically snap back into place for 10 years. And this is very severe provision, okay, like if Iran try to violate any of its commitment under this agreement, all UN sanctions will snap back for 10 years, which could be extended to more than 5 years, which could be extended to 5 more years. Okay, so you see that lifting financial sanctions are also conditional. Okay, these are not like one in go. Now, one provision is also there, that is dispute resolution mechanism. Okay, there is a provision of Joint Commission for Dispute Resolution. However, if the Joint Commission cannot resolve a dispute, it will be referred to the United Nations Security Council. Okay, so basically the P5 countries would decide, and the other non-permanent members would decide the fate of any dispute if arises between Iran and the P5+1 countries. Now, the question that arises in our mind, that during its election campaign, and now that when Donald Trump has refused to recertify the bill, can he deconstruct this deal and derail this deal? Can he? So the answer is no. He cannot tear this deal apart. It is not under the jurisdiction of the President of the United States. The executive of the United States, that is the President of the United States, has only a limited responsibility to certify or not to certify the compliance of Iran, okay, of the deal. The only job of the United States President is to certify that whether Iran is compliant to its commitment under these provisions or not. It cannot tear apart this deal. This comes under the jurisdiction of the United States Congress. Remember this. This is very important. Okay. Under the provisions to decertify the bill, it is also conditional. 4 criteria are there which must be met in order to decertify the bill. Okay. These are: Iran is transparently and variably fully implementing all parts of the deal. Okay. Iran has not committed a material breach of the agreement. Iran has not taken any action, including covert activities, that could significantly advance its nuclear weapon program, and suspension of Iran-related sanctions are appropriate and proportionate to measures taken by Iran to terminate its nuclear program and vital to the US national security interest. Okay, now what Donald Trump says, that since Iran is developing its ballistic missile capability, it's essentially material breach of the agreement. Okay, the administration under the Donald Trump is saying that the Iran is not respecting the spirit of the agreement, which forbids Iran from developing any kind of dangerous missiles, while on the Iran is saying that it has committed its commitment under this deal, US-Iran deal, is limited only to the nuclear weapons and nuclear aspects, and there is no commitment whatsoever on its own responsibility of securing its national security. So there we see that they have reached a kind of deadlock. However, the inspectors and the national security advisors of the European Union and other countries, they are saying that Iran is fully compliant of its commitment under this deal. So what could happen if the United States Congress decide to reimpose the ban? What could take place, and what developments could take place? It's very interesting. The first, if the president does not certify Iran's compliance, it would trigger a 60-day period in which Congress can introduce legislation to reimpose some or all kind of old US sanction, but not the UN ones. So UN flexibility is already there. United Nations cannot, because all other members of the P5 group, they have said that Iran is fully compliant, but it is only a standalone matter for the United States and Iran. Okay, so the ball is in the court of United States Congress. They have to see whether Iran is compliant or whether they should reimpose the ban or not. Now the United Nations flexibility would keep continuing. If that happens, it could cause problems with countries that have resumed trade and banking relationship with Iran, such as India, by forcing Washington to impose secondary sanction on them for cooperating with Tehran. So now it will meddle with the trade relations and commerce relations of countries who have resumed their such relations with Tehran. Okay, It could also try to accuse the United States. It could also destabilize the Middle East significantly, because it would allow Iran to accuse the United States of having been the first to violate the deal and lead to its collapse, okay, which would be proved detrimental for the entire international peace and security. So now this has very dangerous implications. If it come into picture, there would be very dangerous implications. So now we'll see what are India's interests there. The first interest India's is the energy security. Now India is growing with a very good economic growth rate. It has recently become one of the fastest growing major economy in the world, and for that purpose India's energy security is very important. Okay, for India, Iran is a key energy exporter. Okay, and India has already started its energy import from Iran. Okay, when this deal came into existence. However, now as the president has decided to decertify, the Indo-Iran trade relations could be affected significantly. Okay, if the United States decide to reimpose the sanction. Okay, apart from this trade partner, Iran is also a key strategic partner for India in Central Asia region and the Middle East region. India has recently started operating Chabahar port, which is located in Iran, through which India shout access to the Afghanistan as well as the other Central Asian countries. Now, if ban comes into force and if United States pressurizes India to halt trade relations and strategic relationship with Iran, India's this vital interest could be affected. Okay, so this also a strategic relationship could also be hampered if United States Congress decide to reimpose the ban. Okay. Iran, being a key Islamic country in the region, also has significant religious influence on the Islamic population of India. Okay, so it would also kind of affect the popular opinion in the country itself. Okay, and the fourth most important is that destabilizing Iran and Middle East region is never in the interest of India, as a sizable almost 3 million people, Indian diaspora, are living in that region, and they are getting their livelihood there. So any activity or any move which destabilize Middle East region and Iran especially would definitely have a very detrimental effect on India's interest. Now we'll see some of factual information which are very important for prelims examination. So we'd see what is this about International Atomic Energy Authority. Okay, it was originated in 1957 during a key lecture, Atoms for Peace. United States President had given this lecture in the United States General Assembly in 1954. Okay, that speech was known as the Atoms for Peace, and resulting from this speech in 1957, this authority came into place. This is an organization under the United Nations ambit, so direct the supervision and administration of United Nations. So obviously this is an UN body. The objective of this body is to keep nuclear energy safe for only peaceful purposes. Okay, conduct research and development of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes, and advise its member, especially developing countries who have very poor resources as far as nuclear energy is concerned, nuclear science is concerned, and helping them to operate nuclear powers, nuclear energy projects, and disposing of radioactive waste. So definitely it has threefold objective. First is to promote nuclear energy as a peaceful means of clean energy resources. Second is that conduct research and develop nuclear energy as a viable energy option. Okay, and third is to advise and assist developing countries on nuclear science and technology matters, and especially the how to dispose nuclear waste, etc. This organization notably had won nuclear power project Nobel Prize in 2001. So it is very important. It is one of the most important UN organization which has won Nobel Prize in 2001. Okay. However, there are some challenges with this organization. Is that IAEA has no authority to act on its own, but relies on its willingness of countries to operate, it needs an independent UN mandate to act upon. Okay. Now let's see some of the questions, okay, which could be very relevant for prelims examination. The question reads, consider the following statement with reference to International Atomic Energy Authority. The first statement is that it is an intergovernmental body which mainly finance atomic energy projects in low-income developing countries in pursuance of cheap clean energy, which is absolutely incorrect, because as we already discussed, we just discussed that it has threefold objective. First is to protect, promote, and assist technologically, but not financially. It is not a kind of finance or refinancing agency which would finance nuclear power project across the world. Okay, it is mainly job of World Bank and other financial institutions. So it is absolutely incorrect statement. The second statement is it also conducts research for development of nuclear energy as a peaceful, viable source of energy. Obviously, it is correct. It protect and promote it aims to develop nuclear energy as a viable source of peaceful energy. So obviously it is correct. Okay, and it is incorrect. So only A should be the answer. Which is the answer? Answer is A. Explanation is here given. Okay. Now move the second question. The second question is reads, the US-Iran nuclear deal was signed between P5+1 and the Republic of Iran. In this sentence, P5 stands for 5 permanent member countries of United Nations Security Council. Which country represented as +1 in this group? As we discussed in this video, is that P5+1 represent P5 means permanent member, and 1 is country, that is Germany. Germany is a significant economic power in Europe, okay, and it mainly represent the European Union interest. Okay, so in order to accommodate the European Union's interest, Germany was also in the board in the negotiation, and that's why it is known as P5+1 country. So Germany is the correct answer. Here explanation is given. Okay. So this is the entire video which was explaining all the important aspects of US-Iran nuclear deal. In this video we saw that what is US-Iran nuclear deal. Okay. What is the current developments, what are involved interests, and what if the United States abandon this deal, what are the possible implications of this development would be across the world, and how India's interest would be affected. We also solved some of the important questions regarding this deal which could be asked in the examination perspective.